Welcome to Winona, I Love You, the very first episode. My show where I tell you all of my favorite parts about Winona so that you might love Winona too. We're here with my friend Doug Scholz-Carlson, the creative director of the Great River Shakespeare Festival.
Yeah.
Is that right?
Yeah, the artistic director is actually the title.
The artistic director.
Hopefully it's creative as well, but yeah.
Tell me, Doug, what does it exactly mean that you're the artistic director of a Shakespeare festival?
Well, the big part of my job is choosing what the season is going to be, what the plays are going to be, who the designers are going to be, who the directors are going to be, who's going to be in the cast. Do a little bit of fundraising, do a little bit of writing about Shakespeare. It's a lot of different stuff.
Wow, sounds like quite a job for one man.
Well, luckily I have a really good team. And there's also, theater companies usually work, you have an artistic director and you have a managing director. And the managing director deals with most of the contracts and the money and then that kind of stuff, and I deal with most of the creative side of it, so.
Teams are good.
Yes, exactly,
Good,
yeah.
good.
Yeah.
What are the big challenges, you would say, of your job?
Well, that's a really good question. There's a couple of different sort of categories of challenges that we have. One is just how do you produce a season that will be interesting and engaging for the audience? We want plays that are going to be challenging for the audience and that will make them think, but we also want plays that are going to be fun.
Now, tell me, when did you start your theatrical career, Doug?
Actually, I will tell you, the first play that I was ever in was in my kindergarten class. And yes, that's right.
How old were you?
I was 5, and we did the story of the giant turnip, where everybody comes out and they're trying to pull the turnip out. I played the turnip, which is really the title character, but it's the only character who has no lines in the play. So.
And you liked it?
I liked it. I would have wanted to have some lines.
But you got lines eventually, right?
I got lines eventually, yes.
Ah,
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah. Yeah, but I did theater all the way through high school, and then I went to college. I went to St. Olaf College, which is here in Minnesota.
Oh, very nice.
Studied theater there, and then I went out to the University of Washington in Seattle and did a master's degree out there. And
Wow.
yeah, one thing leads to another. Now I'm artistic director of a Shakespeare Festival.
Wow. So what brought you to Winona originally?
Well, I was actually running a Shakespeare Festival up on the north shore of Lake Superior, up in Grand Marais. And that Shakespeare Festival, well, we actually folded the year before this one started. And I knew Paul Barnes, who's one of the founders of the festival. I knew him from the Utah Shakespeare Festival. So I heard he was starting a new festival down here, and I called him up and I said, "Can I please be in your company?" And they hired me as an actor, and then I started working as a fight choreographer and eventually a director. And
Wow. And now you're the artistic director.
I know, yes.
Wow. Well, now tell me, does living in Winona inspire your work at all?
Yeah, definitely. Well, Winona is such a surprising community, So Shakespeare in Love, we have a hurdy-gurdy, which is a medieval instrument. So they're playing that. And of course, when we were planning to do the production, we said, well, where are we going to find a hurdy-gurdy? Well, it turns out one of the best hurdy-gurdy players in the country lives right here in Winona. We had a scene once, there's a scene in Shakespeare's Henry IV Part 1 that takes place entirely in Welsh. And we thought, well, where are we going to find anybody that speaks Welsh in order to teach our actors how to speak Welsh? Well, it turns out there's somebody who speaks Welsh that lives in Winona.
No way.
Anything you're looking
Wow.
for. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. I don't know very many theater companies that have such a strong connection to their community like the Great River Shakespeare Festival does. The whole point of doing the theater is to inspire conversation in the community. I think a lot about where we are politically in the country right now, that we're so divided and we're so polarized. But the truth of the matter is the things that divide us are less than the things that bring us together. The stories about being human make us realize how connected we are. And then the audience will experience those together, and then they go out of that and they have conversations with each other. And then when they have those conversations, that builds a stronger community. And they're talking about big, important things. They're talking about what it means to fall in love. This season, we're talking a lot about the relations between men and women and those sort of gender dynamics. And we talk about honor, and we talk about truth, and we talk about all of those things in a really nuanced way.
Do you spend much time thinking about your audience as you're going through your process?
Oh yeah, for sure. We have to choose plays that are going to be appealing to the audience, that they'll want to come in and see, and then also ones that'll surprise them, that'll make them think a little bit.
That's great.
Yeah.
That's great. So tell me, Doug, how long did it take you to feel like you really knew what you were doing in the theater?
I'm still working on that. No, it's one of those professions that you always feel like a little bit of a fraud because you're always learning something new. You're always trying to do something new. If you don't feel like you're an imposter, you're probably not pushing yourself far enough. Because if you feel totally confident in what you're doing, you're probably not trying anything new. So I love the theater because it constantly puts us in that position where we feel like we're constantly trying something new.
Oh, very nice.
Yeah. I mean, for instance, I've never been interviewed by a bird before. I mean, this is brand new. So.
Yeah, well, it's brand new for me too. This is my first episode. I've never interviewed a man before.
Well, wait, have you done bird interviews before?
No.
Oh, okay, all right.
I've never interviewed anyone before.
All right. Yeah.
So, there are many people in Winona here, Doug, who are familiar with your work and who know what you do. But for the people in Winona and the surrounding communities who don't know you or don't know the Shakespeare Festival, do you have anything you'd like to say to them?
Oh, gosh. Well, if they don't know the Shakespeare Festival, they should come check it out. A lot of people have the experience of reading Shakespeare in high school, and Shakespeare is really hard to read off the page. I think it's hard to read off the page, and I do it all the time. If you think you don't understand Shakespeare, they should come to the Shakespeare Festival, and you should see, because in general, anybody that walks into the theater is going to understand what's going on. You will have plays by Shakespeare, you have a different perspective on them at different points in your life, and you may go to the play with somebody that knows Shakespeare really well, and you might see something in the play that that person never saw before, because that's just how art works.
That's amazing.
Yeah. Before every single performance of our plays, we do a free concert out on the green at Winona State. Yeah, they're fantastic, and people can come to those concerts whether you're coming to the play or not.
Oh, really?
Yeah, the Rubio's food truck is out there, so you can be out there, you can get dinner, you can hear a concert, you can hang out on the green, you can talk to other people. The Shakespeare plays are A Midsummer Night's Dream, which is Shakespeare's most popular play, and then All's Well That Ends Well, which is another comedy by Shakespeare, but it's a play that's not done very often. Oh, wow. And then we are doing Shakespeare in Love, which is about Shakespeare, but it's a modern play. It's a love story, it's a lot of fun. And then Venus in Fur, which is a modern play, which is about dynamics between men and women. That one is for a little more adult audience.
Okay, I see.
We're doing some free performances this year. Our apprentice intern company will do some free performances right on 3rd Street. We're going to shut down the street.
Wow.
And do about 45 minutes of A Midsummer Night's Dream and about 45 minutes of All's Well That Ends Well, so people can come out to that.
Wow.
Yeah, it really is designed for the whole community.
Awesome. That's great.
Yeah.
It sounds like there's lots of things that people could come check out if they're not ready to commit to a whole Shakespeare play, right?
Yeah, yeah. Well, and it's a great way to sort of see a little bit of it and see if you're going to like it.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Oh, that's great. So, Doug, I'm noticing around us right now there's a lot of lights and cameras and all kinds of different things, and I don't recognize any of these people.
I know. Isn't it amazing?
It's kind of intimidating, but it's also kind of amazing.
Yeah.
Can you tell me about that a little bit?
Well, we have a very young crew here, don't we?
We do, yes.
Yeah. Well, this is part of this very interview actually is part of one of our educational programs called Shakespeare for Young Filmmakers.
Really?
Yeah. So we have summer programs for young people. We have all the way starting at age 4, but our main programs we have Shakespeare for Young Actors, Shakespeare for Young Designers, and Shakespeare for Young Filmmakers.
What?
So in the Shakespeare for Young Actors program, they work with professional actors from the acting company, and they learn how we act Shakespeare. They do everything that we do in the professional rehearsal, and then they'll be putting on their own performance of Twelfth Night at the end. And in Shakespeare for Young Designers, they do the same thing with professional designers and learn how we design sets and costumes and props and lights and things like that for the theater. Wow. And the Shakespeare for Young Filmmakers, they are actually making their own movie. In fact, I've seen them out around Winona for the last 4 days, chasing around. They've been doing tracking shots with a golf cart, and I've seen them on various locations around, so they're making their own movie. You know, education is really the heart of what the festival is about. I mean, we're all, we talked about being an imposter or learning all the time. That happens all the time in the theater. So all of us, even the professionals who've been doing this for a while, we feel like we're learning all the time. But we have an apprentice actor training program that brings in young professional actors, and they're here learning. Our interns in the company are young professional theater artists that are just starting on their careers, so they're learning. So we've got people learning all the way across the festival, and it's really kind of heart and soul of what we do.
Wow. I'm speechless. It's amazing. Thank you for bringing me here and letting me see some of the stuff that goes on.
Absolutely, yeah. I'm so glad that you came in.
Yeah, no, me too. Well, Doug, I think that's just about all the time we have today.
All right.
Would you want to say it with me?
Yeah, absolutely, yeah.
All right.
We go straight into camera?
Yeah, straight into camera.
All right, I got it.
If you can't, it's...
Yeah, I got it.
All right.
Ready?
1, 2, 3.
Winona, I love you.
Cue the music.
sometimes like the inmates are running the asylum.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, they know how the asylum works, I guess.
Yes, that's exactly right.